Murray, get out of the shot. Let's talk about this stuff.
Welcome back, everybody. We got the official 2022. 2 years past the pandemic. We're ready to get backpacking again. We're going to go through my entire gear loadout for this year. But first, you know what to do. Check out the podcast. Check out all this stuff. Check out the merch store. Rate us on iTunes, all that fun stuff. We do go live a bunch. Let's talk about gear. We are very excited for the 2022 backpacking season. We've got a bunch of good trips planned. We're going to Colorado. We're going to California. We're going to Nevada. We're going to West Virginia. We got a bunch of fun things lined up. So this is going to be my primary loadout for this year. Real quick though, it is important to note that I do have more than this setup. You know, this is basically my 3-season primary backpacking setup, but I do have a hot tent loadout setup. I have a winter setup. Not going to talk about that in this video, and I'm also not going to go really in depth into my clothing in this video. We might do a separate video for that. I'll talk about a few things, but I'm going to leave clothing out of this and just stick to gear here. So let's get started. This is not an ultralight setup. The reason this is not an ultralight setup is I carry a lot of camera gear, tripods, microphones, drones, and some people don't count that in their base weight, but I certainly do. So the total weight of this setup is right around 11 and 11 and a half pounds. That's really good though, considering I do carry a chair and I do carry a camera setup and the drone, but the drone is pretty light. So about 11 and 12 pounds, and that's primarily because this is a ground sleeping setup. So let's get into it. Let's have some fun. We'll start here. We'll kind of work our way that way, and I just want to get things off this table. The first thing, my quilt. This is a UGQ Bandit 40-degree top quilt. It weighs about 15 and a half ounces. Love it. Fire truck red. And it's still a little warm for some summer things, but that's my quilt. New item for this year. We got these at the end of last year when Chris DM'd us and said, "You nerds want some packs?" And we said yes. So the pack this year, now not every trip, but the vast majority of my trips, this is Light AF's new framed ultra pack. It's big. It is slightly heavier than a Z-Pack's Arc Haul, but I love it. I love all his packs. It's fantastic. It's basically a bigger, beefier, framed version of the Light AF pack that I got from him a few years ago. But that's gonna be the primary pack. Just because, like I said, with the camera gear, all this fun stuff, like I do need a lot of storage space, and this is like a all in 60 liter pack, probably 50-60 liter. I've used it twice. It's awesome. A little bit heavier than some of his other packs, but it's a sweet pack. We'll finish out the big three, and my sleeping pad for this year, same sleeping pad I used. I got it at the end of last year. This is the Thermarest Topo Luxe, Thermarest Neo Air Topo Luxe. It's a 4-inch pad. It's a big pad. I'm a side sleeper. Fantastic valves on this thing. Really like it. It's just a 4-inch pad, and you can't really use it in the cold, but that's fine for 3-season. Like it. My shelter I don't have right now because Andy's got it. Check out our Lake Erie video. But the primary shelter this year, staying the same as last year. Oh no, I say that, I might buy a new tent. But the Z-Packs, Ultiplex, going to be the main tent for this year. Although I'm looking at one of those Nemo Hornet tents. I'm getting sick of using trekking poles. We'll see. But this year, the Ultiplex, this is gonna be the second year in a row I've used that tent as my main tent. It's a fantastic tent, tons of videos on it. So that's the big three: UGQ Bandit 40-degree top quilt, Light AF framed ultra pack, 50-60 liter, Thermarest Neo Air Topo Luxe sleeping pad, the Z-Packs Ultiplex. Stakes. We talk about these all the time. I love this "don't freaking lose me" thing from Hilltop Packs, but I do use I have a few random titanium stakes in here, which I hate, but I'm not gonna get them out. I'll get one out. I do prefer the MSR Mini Groundhog Stake. It's kind of the best stake I've found for price to weight to effectiveness. They're aluminum, but they're really good. So stakes, I usually carry 6, sometimes 7, but the Ultiplex always needs 6. Only piece of clothing I'm going to talk about at all is the rain jacket. It's the Outdoor Research Helium 2. I really don't like it, if I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, it's been relegated now to a running jacket. It wets out in like 15 minutes. It was just super light. I do have an Enlightened Equipment rain kilt, rain skirt, whatever in here. I do like that a lot actually, but this rain jacket sucks. I need to get a new one, but you know, whatever. Real quick, I do carry 50 feet of, this is from Hilltop Packs. This is like, you could consider this Dynaglide bear line. I carry 50 feet. It's kind of overkill, but I really like the stuff that fluoresces when you shine a light on it, and the Dynaglide stuff is kind of waxy, so it slips over trees easier. You know, these are my COVID things. I think, you know, I'm always just gonna carry hand sanitizer now. And this is a Hilltop Packs, what he calls a face blanket. Put our logo on there for us. But I just like to carry this. I always like to carry a buff. I have a buff branded buff, and I have this is a little bit lighter. So if I need a face covering somewhere, I mean, I'm carrying this anyway, but face covering and hand sanitizer, that's the world we live in. We'll flip over to the cooking setup. A few things going on here. So this setup is designed around the fact that Andy and I, for the most part, on almost all our trips, we are sharing a cook setup. And because of that, I bring a Snow Peak 40-ounce titanium pot with a lid. And then in it, I carry a Toaks like 400 mil titanium coffee pot, and I generally don't bring the lid for this. And then the stove, when we're sharing, is the MSR Pocket Rocket Original. This thing is a freaking beast. And I always wrap it in a handkerchief, and I have a big mini lighter. And then the this is a Toaks, or actually I think this is from Hilltop Packs. Yeah, this is a long-handled polished titanium spoon. I got rid of the spork, the collapsible spork. I just got stuff all over my hands. I hated it. But this has been great. And then this is from 2015. My homemade koozie, still going strong. So when it's just me, I only take this, and I'll take my alcohol stove, which is a Zelf Fancy Feast cat can stove with a titanium windscreen and my little alcohol bottle. So on trips where Andy and I are not sharing a stove, this is my setup, still with the spoon. But on most of our trips where I'm sharing a stove, it's the Snow Peak 40-ounce pot. This is just nice because we can boil water for both of us for 2 dinners at once, or like a bunch of coffee water in the morning. And then with this nested in it, with the MSR Pocket Rocket, etc. And I've been using this stove setup has not changed in probably 3 years. So I find I hit the sweet spot of weight to performance, and just when you split a stove with somebody, it does give you a little bit more options for like what you can do in terms of what you can carry. On more trips than not, I do carry a knife now. This is a Kershaw thing off of Amazon. I think it's like the Kershaw Air. It's actually a really good knife. They make really good knives. Water hasn't changed. Otherwise, it finally died. I posted about this on Instagram, but the longest piece of gear I had other than the koozie was my Evernew 2-liter bag from 2015. It finally died in Yosemite last year. Got a brand new one. Tried and true, baby. With the Sawyer squeeze. And this I made like 7 years ago, and I cut like a Pepsi bottle in half. But that's the water setup. I have a bunch of water bottles here because the amount of water I carry does change based on the trip. So I kind of have 3 sizes here, which I kind of like having. This one always comes with me. You can see I'm getting some use out of that. On trips where I need a lot of water, I'll take 2 kind of 1-liter bottles. But on a lot of trips, depending on how far you got to carry water, this is kind of my main water loadout. So a 1-liter bottle, and this is like a 20-ounce. It's like 0.6 liters. So 1.6 liters of water storage, and carry 1.6 liters of clean water storage plus 2 liters of carry capacity if I need it. That's almost always enough. But when we're in the desert, or when sometimes the water can be a little sketchy in Colorado, I'll take 2 full liters. Always rocking the smart water bottles, or I guess this is the Essentia, whatever was on sale at the grocery store. This is like my miscellaneous odds and end bag. I'm not going to go through everything that's in here, but I'll kind of just, go through the highlights. So big old bag of ibuprofen, some multivitamins and stuff like that. I always take multivitamins when I backpack, especially at altitude. This is the official first aid, and toothbrush and extra chapstick. I carry extra chapstick. You gotta carry extra chapstick. And the patch kit for my Thermarest pad. I don't know, some more pills and some Tums. So this doesn't need to be in there, but Tums, I always carry Tums with me now because All that food gives me heartburn. This is a Light AF first aid pouch. He actually made for us like a long time ago, but I usually carry extra camera batteries and an extra SD card in here. And then of course, rounding out this bag, the poop bag. So some wipes, hand sanitizer, and I do this. Some people might think it's weird, but it's great. This is a cap. This is a smart water like fitness cap. This is for the backwoods bidet. So you take this cap, you put it on water, you know, be careful when you're touching this, and you get a little bidet out of it. Don't use it all the time, but it's worth carrying this. This is like a gram or two to be able to, you know, if you got the monkey butt, you got to take care of it. Yeah, that's about it. There's an extra thing of chapstick in there. I am carrying 3 things of chapstick. Colorado, man. Let's keep going. So this will come as no surprise to anyone, but this is the Helinox Chair Zero, our standard chair loadout chair, under £1 with the Hilltop Packs, chair bag with our logo on it. I don't always carry camp shoes, but when I do, they're the Shama sandals. These don't come on most trips, but I will take them to Colorado, and I probably will take them to California. But, you know, they weigh like half a pound. They're nothing. Don't always take them. All right, new item. Another new item for this year. We have changed, these are still gross from the last Ultra I did, but we have changed shoes to the Hoka Speed Goats. Shout out to Bryce Newbold for the rec. Love these shoes. I got them as a trail running / ultra marathon shoe, and I like them so much that they're now the backpacking shoe. Let's talk about some bags. So what I do now for my pillow, and I really have enjoyed doing this. So this is the Z-Packs. It's kind of like a dry bag, but it's got felt sewn into one side of it. So I use this as my clothes bag, and then at night I turn it inside out and shove usually my puffy or something in it, and it makes a little pillow. And I really like it. On the long distance trips, I don't take a regular pillow. I just use this, and it saves a ton of weight. And it's actually pretty comfortable, and you can kind of like mash the pillow and make whatever pillow shape you want out of it. So I really like this, and it can save 4 or 5 ounces over having to carry a traditional pillow. I will bring one stuffed sack for the quilts. And I say every year I'm going to get a trash compactor bag, but I never do because I kind of like this thing and it compresses it pretty well. This is just a Z-Packs bag. Food bag, I got 2. I got the face bag for like the 2 to 3 day trips, and I've got the bigger size for like 4 or 5 day trips. And I have an even bigger size if I need to go for like 6 days of food. But all the trips I'm going on, we're either going to resupply. We're going to resupply, so I don't need to carry more than 4 days of food at a time. So between these 2 bags, I got it covered. Before I move on to the electronics, I do want to say I do still hammock camp. I'm not going to be hammock camping in Yosemite, and I might in Colorado, but I'm still using the Banyan, and Andy and I are still playing with the Banyan version 2. So my hammock is the Banyan hammock with the UGQ Zeppelin, or I have a few Enlightened Equipment quilts on the underquilt, and then sometimes I put the Nemo tensor in there as a pad, and then the Light AF tarp. Not going to go into the hammock setup. I do still hammock camp, but for the big trips this year, because I'm always worried about trees when we go to these high elevation places, I'm using the ground sleeping setup. All right, let's round it out with electronics. You can't see it, but the camera is the EOS R6. It's a great camera, and I carry for the lens on the go. This is a 24mm f2.0 camera lens. I do still bring the UltraPod with the adapter for the Peak Designs capture clip. So the camera setups, other than the camera, which is big, it's actually pretty weight conscious. And then I won't take this whole thing, but there is a variable ND filter in here, which I will use too. So camera setup, it's not bad. It's this plus the camera that's being filmed on, plus the Peak Designs capture clip. And it's about, maybe 1.5 pounds, maybe 2 pounds on a bad day. So it's really not bad. It's heavy, obviously, compared to a lot of other stuff, but the quality's great. The 4K is great. I just like it. Oh, and then lastly, I do have a Rode VideoMic Go. That is that's the on-the-go microphone. So that's all the camera gear. Moving on in electronics land, the Nightcore NU25 headlamp. I've been using this for 3 years. It's freaking awesome. I do if a trip's over 3 days, I will take some sort of external battery because of cameras, drones, headlamps, phones. On anything that's under 3 days, I have an Anker 10,000 milliamp hour, and anything more than 3 or 4 days, I have a 20,000 milliamp hour, and this 20,000 is a beast. Like, you don't need solar panels anymore when you're backpacking. Just get one of these. These 20,000s are like freaking incredible, and they can do everything. And you can charge the drone now. Speaking of the drone, I've got it here. This obviously does not come on every trip, but I try and take it when I can. It's worth the wait to get that crisp drone footage. It's a DJI Mini 2. And this freaking thing comes in at 249 grams, just under the FAA requirement to license it. It's this whole setup is super light, maybe a pound here. And there's so many good things about this drone, but one of the best things is I can charge the drone from one of these power banks, so I don't need to carry extra drone batteries. So the electronics is like kind of right here. You're looking at, a solid 3 pounds of electronics weight. So that's a lot of weight. I don't take all of this on every single trip, but I do take most of it on most trips. And then on the one night trips, I'm still taking this Goal Zero Lighthouse Mini, and in the hot tent trips. It's a great little lantern, and you can charge stuff off of it. This doesn't come on real trips, but 1-2 nighters, especially in the winter when we don't have a lot of sunlight, I will bring this. That is it. That's the lineup for this year. We're gonna get Andy in here, do his lineup. I love talking about gear. We have a bunch of new things for this year. New shoes. I've got the Big Agnes Sidewinder, which I didn't really talk about because this is more of a summer setup, but I do bring that. Got new packs. This drone's actually new this year. And I got the new sleeping pad. I got a lot of new stuff. The closet behind me is filling up. That's it, everybody. Thank you for watching. We'll see everybody on the next video.